I pushed through the double doors, coat clutched tight, heels clicking too loud on the stone floor. The chapel was full, every pew packed, but no one had saved me a seat. I stood near the back by the last row of folding chairs. The air smelled like lilies and old varnish. Too sweet, too heavy. My hands curled into fists inside my gloves. Brielle stood at the podium, calm as glass. To everyone who loved Mason, she began, voice perfectly pitched. He built this life from nothing. A true self-made man. Every brick, every boardroom, every dollar he earned it. People nodded. Cameras clicked. I didn't. She didn't mention me. Not once. Not his mother. Not she raised him alone. Just polished sentences and blank spaces where I used to exist. I lowered my head, pretending to pray. My jaw clenched so tight it hurt. After the service, people rose. Hushed murmurs. Tissues. A breeze from the open doors cut through my coat. I stepped out to the courtyard. The sun was too bright. Mourners formed polite groups, hugging, smiling tightly, sipping coffee from paper cups like it was intermission at a lecture. Brielle moved through them like a politician. Hugs, nods, handshakes. Then she turned, walked straight toward me. I didn't speak. She leaned in, her perfume sharp, her voice lower than a whisper. You won't be needing a key anymore. I blinked. Excuse me. She stepped back. The gate codes changed. That was it. No emotion, no explanation. Just that. Behind her, a cousin waved to me with awkward sympathy. Someone else asked Brielle if the catering was still on. I stood there, lips numb, letting her words land like ice water down my spine. I didn't cry. Not then. Instead, I walked the perimeter of the courtyard past flower arrangements. I didn't choose past his fraternity brothers I barely knew. Near the exit, I spotted the photo display board. Childhood snapshots. His college graduation. Our family Christmas from 5 years ago. I stepped closer. The one of us on his wedding day, just the two of us, was gone. I found the photo later. Reposted online. Cropped at the shoulder. My arm still visible, but not me. At the burial, I stood near the edge of the crowd. The wind whipped at my scarf. The pastor read from the book. People bowed their heads. I didn't. I watched Brielle. She dabbed her eyes with a monogrammed handkerchief. Her nails matched her dress. She didn't look at the casket once. When the last handful of dirt was tossed, people drifted toward the cars. I stayed. Alone. My son was 6 feet down, and I didn't have a place to sit, a home to return to, or a name they used. The funeral program trembled in my hands. A man brushed past me. Someone I recognized, an old associate of Mason's. Behind him, I saw a tall figure in a dark suit. Silver-rimmed glasses. A leather folder under his arm. Jacob Hayes, Mason's lawyer. Our eyes met. He gave me a nod. Just once. Then he turned and disappeared into the line of idling black cars. I folded the program and slipped it into my purse. When I looked up, everyone else was gone. I knocked once. No answer. I pushed the door open anyway. The lights were on. The house smelled like citrus cleaner and something floral I didn't recognize. No one came to greet me. Just the echo of my steps across the tile. There they were. My suitcases. Already zipped, stacked by the staircase, like I was a hotel guest checking out. My coat folded over the top scarf, tucked neatly inside the pocket. I didn't ask who packed them. I didn't need to. A white envelope rested on top, typed impersonal. Reservation confirmed. Roseway Inn. Room 214 through Monday. B. I stared at it for a long time. Folded it once. Put it in my coat pocket. From upstairs I heard voices. Laughter. A soft thud of footsteps and a door closing. I stepped toward the staircase. My eyes went to the second-floor landing. She was there, Sophie, my granddaughter. She froze when she saw me, phone in hand, barefoot in her pajama pants. Her eyes met mine for just a second before she turned and disappeared down the hall. She didn't wave, didn't smile, just turned away. I looked down at my hands, tight, wrinkled, empty. I walked past the kitchen archway. My mug was gone from the cabinet. The photos on the fridge had changed. Vacation shots, Mason and the kids. Nothing with me. The guest room door stood open, lights off, bed stripped, mattress bare, my pillow gone. I didn't walk in. I just looked. For a second, then turned back. The coat closet still held the wool one Mason gave me 2 winters ago. The navy blue with the big buttons he thought made me look sharp. I slipped it on. The door behind me creaked. "Glad you found the note," Brielle said. I turned slowly. She wore black. No shoes. A glass of wine in her hand like this was any other night. I said nothing. "We figured this would be easier," she said. No confusion. No awkward conversations. My throat burned, but I swallowed it down. "Roseway's been remodeled," she added. "Hardwood floors, updated bedding. You'll be comfortable. I'm sure." She didn't ask if I was okay. Didn't offer a ride. Didn't say goodbye. She stepped aside. I picked up my suitcase. Outside the porch, light clicked on. I pulled the handle up on the suitcase. It wobbled on one wheel, down the driveway, past the garage, past the tree Mason planted when Sophie was born. No one followed. At the curb, I reached into my bag for my phone. The app spun for a while before telling me what I already knew. Payment method declined. I tried again. Same thing. I checked my wallet. The backup card Mason gave me wasn't there. My name wasn't on the account anyway. Just an extension. Easy to shut off. The wind picked up. I pulled my coat tighter. In the side pocket, I felt something sharp. Paper. I pulled it out. An envelope, folded, unsealed. My name in Mason's handwriting across the front. I didn't open it. Not here. Not like this. I slipped it back into my coat, turned toward the sidewalk, and started walking in the direction of the bus stop near the corner. I pushed open the glass door. The lobby smelled like lemon and old carpet. A tired-looking clerk barely glanced up. "Reservation for Nora Ellison," I said. He tapped his keyboard. "Yep. One night. Prepaid. Need a card for incidentals or extensions?" I handed him the card Mason set up years ago. Swipe. Declined. I gave him the backup. Declined. He frowned. "You might want to call your bank." I didn't answer. Just pulled out my wallet. $43 and a few coins. He handed me the room key anyway. "You're good for tonight. After that, we'll need something on file." I nodded, took the key, walked toward the elevator without speaking. Room 214 was small. A lamp flickered. The air conditioner buzzed too loud. I put my bags down and sat on the edge of the bed. Then I pulled out my phone. A text came in from Linda. "So sorry about Mason. Thinking of you. Are you moving in with the grandkids full time now?" I stared at the words. Reread them twice. My thumbs hovered over the screen. Moving in, I hadn't even been allowed to stay the night. I typed, "Just taking things one day at a time." Deleted it, rewrote it. "Thanks. Still figuring things out." Hit send. 3 dots blinked, then disappeared. She didn't reply. I leaned back, closed my eyes. The hum of the AC filled the silence Mason used to cut with his voice. I missed it already. Missed him more than I'd let myself feel at the house. The last thing he said to me was, "You'll be okay, Mom." And then he wasn't here to make it true. I opened my purse, took out the envelope, my name in his handwriting, heavy, familiar. I unfolded it. Inside, a business card. Jacob M. Hayes, Estate Law. And below that, a sticky note in Mason's handwriting. "Don't file anything yet. Wait for Mom. No letter, no explanation." Just that. I turned the card over. Nothing on the back, no code, no message. Just ink and silence. I sat still for a long time. Then my phone buzzed again. Another message from the same bank that handled the house loan. Account XX82 has been suspended per account holder's instruction. I stared at the screen. Mason's name was gone from the alerts. Everything was in Brielle's now. She hadn't just taken over his house. She'd taken the money, the cards, the history. And I'd let her. I stood, walked to the window. Rain smeared down the glass. Headlights blurred on the wet street below. I watched them pass, one after another, fast, unbothered. I turned away, sat back on the bed, opened my phone again, searched for Jacob Hayes, found the number, saved it. Then I slipped the envelope back into my coat and lay down without turning off the lamp. I scrolled without thinking. Just noise, headlines, recipes, faces I didn't recognize anymore. Then I saw it. A post from Brielle. Caption: family holds us steady when the world changes. The photo was from Christmas 2 years ago. I remembered that day. I cooked the roast, helped Sophie with the tree, wore the red scarf Mason gave me. In the original photo, I'd stood between them, hand on Mason's back, smiling at Sophie. In this version, I was gone. Not blurred, not shadowed, cropped. A clean cut, as if I had never been there. Brielle's arm now hung strangely in the frame, reaching toward a space that didn't exist anymore. I stared at it until my eyes burned. Not from anger, from disbelief. That scarf still hung in my closet at the house. Or maybe not. I opened my email to distract myself. A new message sat at the top of the inbox. Subject-friendly reminder. Regarding residence terms. From Rebecca Stone. Legal counsel for Brielle Ellison. Dear Mrs. Nora Ellison, this is a courtesy notice that the property at 621 Baycrest Lane is currently deeded solely under the late Mason Ellison and Brielle Ellison. At no point was your name listed on the deed or financial contracts associated with the property. As such, any extended stay must be formally requested and approved by the listed owner. We appreciate your understanding and cooperation during this difficult time. No signature beyond that. No condolence. No warmth. I didn't reply. I sat back staring at the screen. Mason's name still listed, but only as legal formality now. The house wasn't his anymore. And it had never been mine. All those mornings making breakfast in that kitchen, folding laundry, sitting on the porch waiting for deliveries. I'd paid the down payment when they first bought it. Mason had needed help with the closing costs. I had written a check without hesitation, and still I wasn't on the papers. I checked the drawer of the motel desk, found a pen, wrote that down. Date, time, memory. $27,000 down payment, March 2012. Personal check. It was the first thing I'd written in weeks that felt like it mattered. Later, I opened the motel mini fridge. Dry creamer. Plastic-wrapped muffin. I sat at the desk and ate in silence, scrolling again, not even knowing what I was looking for. Sophie had posted too. A filtered photo with her friends. No mention of the funeral. Just a heart emoji and a location tag. I didn't blame her. She was 12. But something about it still stung. I locked the phone and set it face down. The letter from Brielle's lawyer sat open beside the keyboard. The reminder rang louder than the words, "You were never meant to stay." I reached into my coat pocket, pulled out Mason's envelope again, opened it, read the note once more, then flipped the card. Small print, address, Hayes and Kilmer, LLP, Suite 802, 9th and Holbrook, Portland. I grabbed my bag and my coat, stepped outside before I could talk myself out of it. I dug through the coat without thinking. It had been hanging in the back of the motel closet for 3 days. I almost left it at the house, almost let it stay folded over the stair rail where Brielle had dropped it. I needed something heavier for the walk. Portland wind cut sharper than usual that morning. I reached into the inside pocket and felt its thick paper square edge. I pulled it out. An envelope. Not sealed, no stamp, just one line in Mason's handwriting. Jacob M. Hayes, confidential. No return address. No date. My fingers trembled as I opened it. Inside, one note handwritten. Don't file anything yet. Wait for Mom. No greeting, no signature. Just that. I stared at the paper, folded it again, slid it back in. He hadn't mailed it. He'd kept it with him. Close. Tucked inside a coat I hadn't worn since the hospital visits. I called the number on the card. Straight to voicemail. I walked instead. 6 blocks. Turned left at Holbrook, found the building. Gray glass, 10 stories. Hayes and Kilmer on a brass plate beside the elevator. The receptionist barely looked up. Do you have an appointment, no? She glanced at the name I gave her, then picked up the phone, mumbled something, listened. Mr. Hayes will see you. 5 minutes. The office was quiet. Mahogany shelves. 1 clock ticking. A glass pitcher of water with no glasses. Then the door opened. He looked older than I remembered. Silver hair, lean-billed eyes that missed nothing. Nora, he said. Come in. I sat. He didn't offer coffee, just waited. I took out the envelope, placed it between us. I found it in Mason's coat. He unfolded the note, read it twice, nodded slowly. He gave this to me 3 months ago, Hayes said. Asked me not to act on anything until he was sure of what he hesitated, then stood, walked to a locked cabinet, took out a slim red folder. He asked me to prepare 2 versions of his estate plan, one formal, one conditional. He set the folder down, but didn't open it. He never filed the second version officially, Hayes said. He hesitated. Because of her. Hayes didn't answer that. He tapped the folder. He left detailed instructions. If something happened to him and you came to me, not Brielle, not her attorney, you were to receive this. He pushed the folder toward me. I opened it. Inside, trust documents, a draft will, a post-it with a passcode, another card, this one to a safety deposit box, and a note in Mason's writing. She'll try to shut the door. You know where the hinges are? I read every word. Twice. Is any of this legally binding? I asked. He nodded. Some of it. Enough of it. I closed the folder. My hands were steady now. I want copies. You'll have them. He paused. There's more, he said. But some things can't be said here. Not yet. For now, just know he planned for this. I stood, picked up the folder, slid it into my coat. He knew she'd come for everything I said quietly. He looked at me. He hoped she wouldn't, but he prepared in case she did. I nodded once, walked out without shaking his hand. I walked straight to the counter. Can I help you? The young teller asked. Her nameplate read, Danica. I slid the envelope across the glass. I need to check on a trust account. I was told it's under my maiden name, Nora Beasley. She looked at the envelope, then back at me. Do you have ID? I handed her my license. She typed something, paused, then typed again. Her fingers slowed, her eyes shifted. Not alarm, just awareness. I'll need a moment, she said quietly. Would you mind waiting in that room over there? I nodded. The door clicked behind me. Small room, neutral walls, a single chair, no clock. 5 minutes passed, then 10. Danica returned. Her tone had changed. Thank you for your patience, she said. We verified the authorization. She handed me a printed summary. My eyes dropped to the numbers first. 8 figures. I blinked, looked again. 8. I scanned the name at the top, trust beneficiary Nora Beasley. No mention of Ellison, no mention of Mason. Just me. The document listed deposits over the past 2 years. Regular ones, monthly, quiet. All from the same originating account, Ellison Holdings Private Discretionary Fund. Can I ask, I said slowly, who set this up? She lowered her voice. It was opened in person. Mr. Mason Ellison. 2 years ago. My throat went dry. Did he leave any instructions? She hesitated. There's a letter on file. Would you like to see it? I nodded. She stepped out again. When she returned, she handed me a sealed envelope. Bank stationery. My name typed clean across the front. I opened it. Mom, if something happens, this is yours. Not for them. Not negotiable. Use it how you need. No one else knows. Not even Brielle. Don't let anyone tell you what you deserve. M. No date, no fluff. Just that. I folded it, slid it into my purse. Danica stood quietly watching. Can I access it? I asked. She nodded. You're the sole beneficiary. Full access, no restrictions. I thanked her. Signed the paperwork. Took another copy of the balance summary. As I walked out, the wind hit me full in the face. I crossed the street, stepped into the coffee shop on the corner, ordered a small black coffee, and sat at a window seat facing traffic. The numbers replayed in my head. The letter. The signature. My name Beasley deliberately used. He'd made sure it couldn't be touched. I thought of Brielle's lawyer, the motel key, the friendly reminder email, the family photo cropped to hide me. They thought I had nothing. I opened the folder from Hayes again, laid it beside the bank paperwork, and pulled out the card for the storage facility. Unit 3C. Glenwood. Combination lock. I finished the coffee, tucked the documents into my purse, picked up my coat, left the receipt on the table. I pushed open the courthouse doors and headed for Suite 4B. The elevator was full. I took the stairs. 3 flights up past chipped paint and a vending machine humming too loud. Outside the meeting room, 2 people stood guarding the door, Brielle's lawyer and a man I didn't recognize. Suited. Sharp-eyed. I nodded. Nora Ellison. I'm here for the probate meeting. The woman stepped forward. This is a private session, Mrs. Ellison. Family only. I blinked. I am family. I'm afraid you're not on the list. I reached for the folder in my bag, but stopped. No, not here, not yet. I'll wait outside then. I took a step back, sat on the narrow bench by the window. They didn't stop me. They didn't care. The door closed. I could see through the frosted glass panel. Inside, Brielle laughed. Her hair was pinned up tight. She leaned across the table, all confidence. A man slid a folder toward her. She opened it, flipped the pages, then held one up dramatically. Once probate clears, she said loud enough for the hallway to catch it, I'll gut that office first. That hideous desk, burn it. Laughter followed, not just hers. The hallway pressed in around me. I gripped the folder inside my purse, Mason's handwriting still sharp on the corner tab. They thought it was done, that I had folded, that the quiet meant surrender. I stood, smoothed my coat, walked slowly back toward the elevator. At the lobby, I stepped outside. Cold wind hit fast. I turned the corner and pulled out my phone. Jacob Hayes answered on the first ring. I wasn't on the list, I said. I didn't expect you would be, he replied. She's tearing it apart already. The office. His name. Then we don't wait any longer, he said. It's time to move. I crossed the street, walked into the lot where I'd left the rental, sat inside with the engine running and Mason's documents open across my lap. Inside the folder, 1 notarized affidavit, 1 sealed video, and 1 final clause he never showed her. I unlocked the gate and stepped into the narrow corridor. Concrete floors, fluorescent lights, rows of metal doors. Unit 3C sat near the end. Same lock Mason had used for years, the one he insisted I keep a copy of. I slid the key in, turned. The door groaned up. Inside, nothing but a black filing cabinet and a folding chair. No boxes, no furniture, no dust, just the cabinet locked. I tried the second key on the ring. It clicked. Top drawer. A single red folder, labeled in bold block letters, Hold until probate. I took it, closed the drawer, sat on the chair, opened it. First page, a printed transcript. Video statement. Richard Mason Ellison, January 14th. He'd recorded it. Every word. Every clause. A backup in case the video didn't play. At the top, his signature. At the bottom, 2 witness names I recognized: Hayes and one of Mason's senior partners. Second page, a revised will. Dated 6 weeks after the one filed with the court. Same language up front. But by the 3rd clause, it changed. He had revoked Brielle's exclusive control of the estate, split the corporate shares evenly, and added my name to the inheritance of personal assets, household vehicle residual funds. The final clause struck hardest. If any beneficiary attempts to alter the terms, manipulate probate, or displace a listed heir, all assets under dispute will default to the control of the court-appointed trustee. He knew what she'd do. 3rd document, the trustee appointment. My name. Signed by him. Notarized. Countersigned by Jacob Hayes. The air in the unit felt thinner. My hands stayed still. I read the pages again, this time slower. It wasn't just a revision. It was a safeguard. He'd filed the public will, the clean version. But this was the weapon. The one he saved. The one he trusted me to use when the time came. I slid the folder into my bag. Locked the cabinet. Closed the unit. Pulled the door down behind me. Outside, the wind cut sharp across the parking lot. I got in the car. Called Hayes. "I have it," I said. His voice dropped. "Then it's time." I met Jacob Hayes in the back office of a cafe. Neutral ground. No conference room. No desk between us. Just a table, 2 mugs of coffee, and the truth he'd waited to hand over. He didn't waste time. "He came to me 3 months before he died," Hayes said. "Alone. No assistance. No Brielle." He slid a small USB drive across the table. "What's on it?" Everything he said. The video statement, the 2nd draft call logs, and my notes. Dates. Witness confirmations. Mason wanted the changes airtight. I picked up the drive. Turned it in my hand. Why wasn't this filed? Hayes looked down at his cup. 2 weeks before his final hospitalization, Brielle showed up at my office. Said Mason had changed his mind. Brought a note, short, unsigned, but written in his hand. Said he wanted to keep the original will. "You believed her?" "I believed he was tired," Hayes said. "And maybe afraid. He'd asked me not to contact you unless he didn't make it through probate. He thought he'd have more time." I sat back. Let that sink in. My son had planned for war but died mid-truce. She claimed he was confused. Hayes continued. Said I was manipulating him. She even threatened to report me to the bar. Accused me of coercion. "Did you stop working with him?" "No. I just went quiet." He leaned forward, voice lower. "I knew you'd come. He told me you would. Said, she may look soft, but she's harder than she lets on." My throat caught. He said if she locks you out, that's when the 2nd plan starts. I nodded. She locked me out before the funeral ended. Hayes reached into his briefcase, pulled out another document, a signed receipt, Mason's handwriting. RE Secondary Estate Execution held in trust by J.M. Hayes pending activation. "I need this filed," I said. "I already started." He tapped his phone. "We have a hearing set." Quiet petition. Judge Wallace. She was close to Mason professionally. She won't ignore this. And Brielle. She'll hear about it when the papers arrive. I sipped the coffee. Let it sit bitter on my tongue. The USB felt heavier now, like proof I didn't know I needed. Hayes stood, buttoned his coat. "We'll play it calm for now. But when the notice hits her desk, I want you in the room." "Why?" "Because Mason left one clause just for you. And it's not in the paper will. He didn't say what it was. I didn't ask." I slipped the USB into my coat, stood and followed him out. I locked the motel door, drew the curtains, sat on the edge of the bed with the USB in one hand and my laptop in the other. The file was labeled Final Statement, RME. I double-clicked. Mason's face filled the screen. Not sick, not weak, just his steady, alert eyes sharp. He sat in Hayes's office timestamp in the bottom corner. 3 weeks before the hospital. "I want this on record," he said. No edits. He looked straight at the camera. "If anything happens to me and probate is still pending, my wife Brielle, Ellison may not alter residence agreements, displace heirs, or take possession of any disputed assets. If she removes my mother from the property directly or indirectly, she forfeits all primary holdings." He held up a signed page. Hayes's voice came from off camera, reading the date, the clause, and the witness names. Mason nodded. "I know exactly what I'm saying. If she pushes her out, she gets nothing." I paused the video. Let the silence in the room settle. He hadn't whispered it. He hadn't buried it in fine print. He'd said it clearly, deliberately, with the same voice he used when he made final decisions on contracts worth millions. It was notarized, time-stamped, sealed, and she had no idea. I played the rest. Mason talked about legacy, about trust, about what happens when power goes unchecked. Then he looked into the camera one last time. "She won't see this coming," he said. "But Mom will. She always has." I closed the laptop. My hands didn't shake. I picked up the folder from the bank, pulled out the trust balance sheet, put it beside the estate draft from the storage unit. He had lined up every piece. This wasn't grief anymore. It wasn't loss. It was movement. I packed everything back into the folder, stood, picked up my coat. Then I called Hayes. "Send the petition," I said. "Let her read it with her morning coffee." I started with the numbers in Mason's phone, scrolling, pausing, writing names in a small spiral notebook. Not family, not friends. People who had worked with him, cared for him, watched what Brielle tried to hide. First call went to Leah Carter Mason's paralegal. She answered on the second ring. "Mrs. Ellison." Her voice held surprise. "It's Nora," I said. "I need to ask you something about Mason's last months." A pause. "I can't discuss client matters." "This isn't about contracts I cut in. It's about what you saw." She exhaled. "I always wondered if someone would call. He wasn't himself around her." I kept notes. Not legal memos. Personal ones. "I can send them. I'll come pick them up," I said. "Today." Next call. The hospice nurse. Her name was Delia. She had stayed overnight at the house during the last week. "I remember you," she said. "You brought coffee at midnight. He asked for you when she wasn't in the room. He did more than once. He said, if she tries to shut her out, call Hayes." I thought he meant you'd already been told. My hand tightened around the phone. "Would you be willing to give a statement?" "I'll do more than that," she said. I kept his vitals, his mood logs, and all the visitor entries. Nobody's touched them. They're still in my bag. Third stop, the building manager at Mason's downtown office. I walked there instead of calling. Old habits. Face-to-face worked better when you were asking for the truth. He met me in the lobby. Tall man in a worn jacket. "I saw her," he said before I even asked. "In the garage. 3 days before he went into the hospital. Screaming at him over a phone call. He dropped his briefcase. Papers everywhere." She didn't pick them up. "Would you tell that to a judge gladly?" He was a good tenant. Always paid on time. Always said thank you. I wrote his full name and contact info underlined twice. By mid-afternoon, my notebook was filled with arrows, dates, addresses. The folder from the storage unit sat open on the motel desk, and next to it, a fresh file witness statements began to take shape. Not just legal documents, human accounts, patterns. I called Hayes and read off the list. He didn't interrupt, just wrote. "Send me everything he said. We'll get affidavits drafted." No more blind spots. I closed the notebook. My hands felt steadier with each name I wrote. Silence wasn't hiding anymore. It was building. I gathered the papers, stacked them in order, slipped them into the new folder, and reached for the key to the safety deposit box. I signed in, sat down, and didn't take off my coat. Second row, far left, close enough to hear everything, but just out of Brielle's eyeline. The clerk called the case number. Jacob Hayes nodded beside me, papers stacked, posture straight. He didn't look at me. He didn't need to. She arrived 5 minutes late. White dress, white heels, hair pinned like she was attending a luncheon, not a courtroom. She breezed in with her attorney in tow, no papers in hand, no documents. Just that practiced, polished grief on her face like a mask she'd rehearsed. I didn't stand. I didn't blink. She saw me. Paused. Then looked away like I was a stain on the wall. The judge entered. We rose. Sat. Hayes opened his file, but I touched his arm. Slid him a folded note. He read it. Nodded once. Then we said nothing. Brielle's attorney stood, explained their position, praised Mason's business acumen, cited the original and only will, used words like clarity and legacy and respect for final wishes. Then Brielle asked to speak. Permission granted. She turned to face the room, her voice just soft enough to appear sincere, just loud enough to carry. Mason always wanted his family protected, she said. He didn't want confusion. He didn't want division. That's why we kept everything simple. One will, one estate, one plan. Her attorney beamed. She continued. I handled everything for him those last months. The medications, the calls, the accounts. It was what a wife does. I watched her hands. Perfectly still. No shaking. He loved his mother, she added quickly, but he worried she'd make this process harder. He told me that. I heard the lie before she finished it. But I didn't move. Let her build it. She looked toward the judge. We just want peace. No disputes. No delays. She smiled. That was her mistake. She smiled. I leaned forward, whispered to Hayes now. He stood, calm, precise. Opened the red folder. The clerk stopped typing. The judge leaned in. Your Honor, Hayes said we have filed a motion to introduce a secondary estate plan executed 3 weeks prior to Mr. Ellison's passing, complete with video statement, notarized amendments, and trustee confirmation. Gasps. Whispers. Brielle stiffened. Hayes didn't stop. In this revision, Mrs. Nora Ellison is reinstated as co-beneficiary co-trustee and retains full right of residence and access to disputed assets, pending verification of a conditional clause signed, sealed, and triggered the moment Mrs. Ellison was removed from the family home. The room cracked open. Brielle's eyes went wide. Her attorney whispered frantically. The judge raised a hand. We'll take a short recess, she said. 10 minutes. Everyone stood. I didn't move, just turned to look at Brielle. She looked back, and for the first time, her smile was gone. I parked half a block down and walked the rest. The mansion looked smaller now, not in size, just in weight, stripped of meaning. The kind of house people toured for square footage, not memory. There was a for sale sign in the yard. New, bold font. The kind with QR codes and a photo of the agent smiling too wide. I didn't ring the bell. I walked around the side gate, still broken on the latch. Still unfixed since last winter. Brielle hadn't bothered. The garage door keypad blinked red. I punched in the code. The motor hummed loud and slow. The door lifted. There it was. Mason's 1970 Cutlass Supreme. Gunmetal gray. Red interior. Covered in a plastic sheet. Half-forgotten dust gathering on the roof. The one he rebuilt with his father. The one he refused to sell even when Brielle begged to convert the garage into a gym. I walked around it once. Peeled back the cover. Checked the plates. Checked the tag. Still valid. I opened the driver's side door. Glove box. File folder. Inside title. Insurance. Maintenance log. All in Mason's name. Under the folder, an envelope. One line on the front. If you're reading this, you already know what to do. I didn't open it. I didn't need to. I slid into the seat. Turned the key. The engine caught on the second try. Smooth. Loud. I backed out slow, steered clear of the driveway camera, drove past the side street. Didn't look back. At the first light, I pulled over, parked, opened the envelope. Inside, one document signed transfer of title, from Mason Ellison to Nora Beasley. No witnesses, no lawyers, just him, just me. And a sticky note at the bottom corner. She forgot this garage existed, but you didn't. That's how this works, Mom. She forgets. You remember. I folded the paper, tucked it into the glove box. Then I drove. I parked 2 blocks away. Drove the Cutlass. On purpose. Let it idle in front of the restaurant for a moment before I cut the engine. A few guests outside glanced over. One of them squinted like he recognized it. I didn't stop walking. Inside the room buzzed with soft music, fake candles and wine glasses that had already been refilled twice. The host waved me toward the back. No assigned seats, just clusters. Everyone standing. Brielle held court near the fireplace. White dress again, designer heels. Laugh like a ribbon tied too tight. She caught sight of me. Her jaw tensed, but only for a second. She nodded, like I was some distant cousin who'd wandered in late. No greeting, no welcome. I didn't expect one. A server passed with champagne. I took a glass. Didn't drink. She tapped hers with a spoon. Everyone, she said. Voice sweet, full of light. Before we eat, I just want to thank you all for your kindness, for helping us move forward. She raised the glass. To new beginnings. They clapped. I didn't. I raised mine. To those who speak well of the dead. I paused, felt every eye shift, and treat the living with dignity. The sound drained out like someone unplugged the room. Forks hovered midair. A cough was swallowed. Even the music seemed to fade. I set the glass down without drinking. Didn't wait for a reaction. Just turned and walked toward the hallway. Slow, quiet, steady. Behind me, someone muttered, "What was that supposed to mean?" Another voice lower. "Is that his mother?" At the end of the corridor near the coat rack, I heard Brielle hiss something sharp, too low to catch the words. Then footsteps. Then the clink of a glass being set down too hard. I didn't turn around. I walked out the front door, pushed through the late evening air, and got into the Cutlass. Turned the key. Drove. I entered first. Sat closest to the screen. Said nothing. Brielle arrived 5 minutes late. All white again. Lipstick brighter than before. She didn't nod. Didn't glance. Just slid into her chair like it belonged to her. Her attorney shuffled papers with false confidence. The judge adjusted her glasses. Hayes waited, calm, measured, unreadable. They opened with numbers, assets, valuations. A line about clear intent and no contested filings to date. I stayed quiet. Then Hayes stood. Your Honor, we respectfully submit a final video statement, prepared and notarized by Mr. Ellison himself. Its existence was withheld at his request until full review of all claims was complete. Brielle's attorney stiffened. There was no mention. The document was filed this morning, Hayes replied. It meets evidentiary standards. The judge nodded. Play it. Hayes pressed the button. Mason appeared on screen. He looked healthy, alert, no tremor in his voice, his tie slightly loose. That same calm he always carried when the stakes were real. If you're watching this, something's already gone wrong, he said. I didn't move. Brielle shifted, folded her arms. Mason continued. My original will was written when I believed my home would remain a place of care, not power. I was wrong. He lifted a document into frame. Clear signature, clear date. Same day as the folder in the garage. I added a clause. If Brielle removes my mother from the property before probate, she forfeits all primary holdings. Home accounts, business interest. All of it. Gasps. Audible now. One from Brielle's lawyer, one from the clerk. One smallest, sharpest from Brielle herself. She went rigid. The video kept going. I made this choice clear. I recorded this so no one could twist it. He looked straight into the lens. His voice didn't shake. My mother is the reason I built anything worth protecting. If someone erases her, they erase me. The screen went black. No one spoke. Hayes let the silence sit, then gently placed the signed clause in front of the judge. Brielle opened her mouth. Nothing came out. Her attorney leaned over, whispered something urgent. She didn't respond. The judge took her time, flipped each page slowly, then looked up. This changes everything, she said. And Hayes turned to me. Quiet. Calm. Shall we proceed? She tried to move the money at 8:47 a.m. Hayes forwarded the report. A flagged transaction attempt. Multiple withdrawals. All denied. The system froze access to the main trust within 3 seconds. I didn't respond to the email, just closed my laptop. By noon, Brielle's attorney had called Hayes 3 times. No response yet. He knew better than to rush. The paper did the talking now. At 2:15 p.m., she showed up at the courthouse. Not scheduled, not dressed for court. Hair pulled back in a rush, voice sharp at the clerk's desk. I need to speak with Judge Lambert, she said. The clerk didn't blink. The court doesn't take walk-ins. She hissed something under her breath, then turned too fast and saw me. I was seated on the bench by the window, waiting, not for her. She walked over, clutching her bag like it held answers. You think this is over? She snapped. I looked up. Calm. Even. I think it started the moment you locked the door. Her jaw clenched. I didn't know about the clause. He never told me. That's the point, I said. He didn't trust you to know. She opened her mouth again, closed it. I stood, stepped past her. No raised voice, no final jab. Let the court filings finish what Mason started. Hayes texted 2 words at 3:04 p.m. Clause triggered. That night, the financial dashboard showed 3 green check marks, joint accounts suspended, property deed flagged for reassessment, business shares pending reassignment. I didn't celebrate. I made coffee, sat at the table, folded the same napkin twice. The quiet held more than it used to. No apology, no drama, just her cut off at the root. The next morning, the official letters went out. She knocked hard, 3 times, no pause. I didn't answer. The 4th knock came faster, then her voice low and syrupy. Nora, can we talk? Just a minute. I stayed seated, let the silence stretch. She knocked again. I think we started off wrong. I stood, walked to the door and opened it halfway. No chain. She stood there in jeans and a silk blouse, makeup too perfect for a parking lot. The gold bangle on her wrist shook slightly when she shifted her weight. I shouldn't have kicked you out, she said. It was grief. I wasn't thinking straight. I didn't respond. She glanced behind her, lowered her voice. I can fix this. We don't have to go to court again. Just undo the clause, or don't enforce it. You know Mason wouldn't want a war. Still, I said nothing. She took out a folded paper. I can offer you the guest house, full utilities, your own entrance. No drama. I looked down at the paper, didn't take it. She stepped closer. Her voice dropped. You win, okay? You got your show. You embarrassed me. But if you push this, we all lose. I opened the door wider. Her eyes lit up too fast. Then I reached forward and slowly slid the door closed. No slam, just a firm click as it shut between us. She knocked again, harder. You think Mason left you everything because you deserved it, she hissed. You think you mattered more than I did. Silence. I gave him everything, she snapped. I was the one he chose. Still, I didn't open the door. A second passed. Her voice dropped to a whisper. You'll regret this. Then her footsteps retreated. Quick, uneven. I waited until I heard her car start. Then I sat back down, placed the folded court order next to my coffee, and turned the page. I walked in before they could close the door. 3 men looked up. 2 stood. 1 didn't. A woman near the end of the table adjusted her glasses and whispered something to the man beside her. Hayes followed behind me, calm, composed. He didn't touch my arm or announce me like an escort. He just placed a slim folder on the table and opened it. "She holds temporary oversight until probate settles," he said. "Effective today." No one spoke. The man who didn't stand finally shifted in his seat. "This is highly irregular. So is hiding a trust clause," Hayes replied, flipping a page. The woman with the glasses cleared her throat. "Are we saying she has voting power?" "Yes," Hayes said. 51%. Proxy override. By Mason's express instruction. I stepped forward. Didn't smile. Didn't apologize for being there. "I'm not here to change how the company runs," I said. "I'm here to make sure no one forgets whose name built it." A younger man at the far end, mid-30s expensive watch, no notepad, spoke up. "We just didn't expect you to actually show up." "I know," I said. "That's the problem." I took the open seat at the head of the table. Mason's seat. Someone shifted behind me. Another cleared their throat. No one objected. Hayes handed me a slim binder. Inside, summaries, board notes, internal memos. Mason had prepared all of it. I turned to the page he flagged. A memo dated 3 weeks before his death, marked hold for transition. His handwriting. His seal. "I'll only need an hour," I said. "Let's begin." The woman nodded. The others followed. I didn't flinch. Didn't stutter. The room no longer held the power to intimidate me. Mason had seen to that. Outside the glass wall, the skyline cut through the clouds, steady and sharp. I signed fast. No hesitation. Each page slid toward me, each line already marked. Hayes watched calm. The clerk recorded every stroke. One signature revoked Brielle's trustee status. Another redirected the final shares. The last page sealed my control. It was done in under 12 minutes. The judge didn't need a speech. Just nodded, stamped the folder, and confirmed the record. "All holdings have been reassigned." Case concluded. I stood, folded the pen, slipped it into my coat pocket. Outside, the wind hit first. Cold. Honest. The press waited by the steps. 3 microphones. 2 cameras. Flash already primed. "Mrs. Ellison, do you have a statement?" I kept walking. "Is it true she forged a second will?" Another question. More aggressive. "Will you pursue damages?" I stepped past them. No pause. No smile. No rebuttal. Hayes followed a few paces behind. His phone buzzed, but he didn't answer. At the curb, the cutlass waited. I opened the door. Tossed the folder in the passenger seat. Behind me, the shutters clicked again. I closed the door. Started the engine. The questions kept coming, but I couldn't hear them anymore. I poured the coffee slow. Steam curled. Rose. Faded. The mug was chipped on one side, handle worn smooth. I wrapped both hands around it and walked to the window. The sun reached across the floor. Quiet light. No shadows. I sat. The mug read, "Still his mother." No flourish. No punchline. Just truth. No texts came in. None needed answering. The voicemail was full. I didn't check it. I leaned back in the chair Mason helped me build 20 years ago. He never liked straightbacks. Said chairs should let you breathe. Outside, a boy rode by on a scooter. No helmet. Wind in his mouth. I watched until he turned the corner. Inside the house, held. Small. Rented. Clean. The will was filed. The accounts transferred. The mansion locked. Her name off everything that mattered. The business steady. The trust preserved. The story written. Not told. Not shouted. Just lived. I took a sip. Let it settle. The last time Mason and I had coffee, we didn't speak much either. just sat like this, the world still moving outside, but we knew who we were, and I still do.